morning, Division 15. Here I go. It's Miss Lion trying to make a video for you that I will upload to a private place on YouTube and send to your families. This is what's happening right now. Couple of things as I say hello to you this morning. I want you to introduce you to my little dog Finley. Here he is. He's my mascot, my little Chihuahua. And I also wanted to point out the painting that Miss Lion did while she's been stuck at home like you guys. So here's my idea. I'm going to continue reading The Magic Treehouse for you guys. And also want to point out that Miss Lion has sent you all passwords for Raz Kids. So I'm hoping you're getting a chance to maybe log online and do some reading of your own. Okay, so Magic Treehouse, number 7, Sunset of the Sabertooth. Here's the cover. And here we go. So the first part of this one has a prologue, and some of you might remember Miss Lion taught you what a prologue was. A prologue is, if you haven't read any of the previous stories, you read the prologue and it can give you a little information about the stories you haven't read. But of course our class has read 1 to 6, but you know who maybe hasn't is your parents. So they might be watching this with you. So today Miss Lion is going to read the prologue for you. One summer day in Frog Creek, Pennsylvania, a mysterious treehouse appeared in the woods. 8-year-old Jack and his 7-year-old sister Annie climbed into the treehouse. They found it filled with books. Jack and Annie soon discovered the treehouse was magic. It could take them to places in the books. All they had to do was point to a picture and wish they could go there. And there's a picture of the treehouse. Jack and Annie visited the dinosaurs, the knights, an Egyptian queen, pirates, and even ninjas, and then the Amazon rainforest. Along the way, they discovered that the treehouse belonged to Morgan Le Fay. Morgan is a magical librarian. She's traveled through time and space, gathering books for King Arthur's library. On their 5th adventure, in the Night of the Ninjas, Jack and Annie found a little mouse in the treehouse, and Annie named their new friend Peanut. Jack and Annie also found a note from Morgan. The note told them that she was under a spell. To free her, Jack and Annie must find 4 special things. They found the first one in old Japan and the second in the Amazon rainforest. And if you can remember, the first one was a moonstone and the second was a mango. Jack and Annie and Peanut are about to set search on their 3rd thing in Sunset of the Sabertooth. Chapter 1 is called The M Things. And here's a picture of Jack and Annie. Let's go to the treehouse, said Annie. She and Jack were passing the Frog Creek woods on their way from swimming class at the Y. No, I just want to go home and change out of my wet bathing suit, said Jack. Oh, that'll take too long, said Annie. Don't you want to save Morgan as soon as possible? Well, of course, said Jack. Then come on. Before the sun sets, said Annie. She darted into the woods and Jack sighed. He'd given up the idea of changing out of his bathing suit. He pushed his glasses into place and he followed his sister into Frog Creek Woods. The warm air smelled fresh and green. He moved through patches of sunlight and shadow and soon he came to a small clearing. He looked up and there it was, the magic treehouse in the tallest tree in the woods. Hurry, said Annie. She was already climbing the rope ladder. Jack grabbed the ladder and he started up after her. They finally reached the treehouse. Squeak! A mouse sat on the windowsill. Hi, Peanut, said Annie, and Jack patted her tiny head. Sorry we didn't come sooner, said Annie, but we had swimming lessons. Squeak, said the mouse. What happened while we were gone? Asked Annie, looking around the treehouse. Jack stared at the large M carved into the floor of the wooden treehouse. On the M was a moonstone and a mango, the special things they'd found on their last 2 journeys. Hey, guess what, said Jack. Moonstone and mango start with the letter M, just like Morgan. Hey, you're right, said Annie. I bet all 4 things have an M, said Jack. Yeah, you're right. I wonder where we'll find the next one. She and Jack stared at the books stacked on the floor. Books about the Amazon rainforest, ninjas, pirates, mummies, knights, and dinosaurs. All of them were closed. The only book that laid open was in the corner. Well, I guess we're going to find out, said Jack. He walked over to the open book and they looked at the page that was open. It showed a picture of rocks and snow. Wow, said Annie, running her fingers over the picture. I love snow. I wish we could go there right now. Wait, said Jack, we're not prepared. And then there was another thought. And we're wearing our bathing suits. Stop. Oops, said Annie. I'm sorry. But it was too late. The wind had already begun to blow. The leaves started to shake. The treehouse began to spin. It spun faster and faster. And then everything was still. Silent. Except for falling snow. We've got one picture right here. Chapter 2. Bones. Jack and Annie and Peanut looked outside. Snow was falling on a very gray sky, and the treehouse was in the tallest tree in a grove of tall, very bare trees. The grove was on a wide, white plain, and beyond the plain were high, rocky cliffs. I'm cold, said Annie, her teeth chattering. She wrapped her towel tightly around her. Squeak! Peanut sounded cold too. Oh, poor mouse, said Annie. I'm going to put you in Jack's backpack. You're going to be warmer in there. So Annie slipped Peanut into the pocket of Jack's backpack. Well, I think we should just go home, said Jack. We need warmer clothes. We can't be here like this. We can't go home, said Annie. We can't find the Pennsylvania book, remember? Not until the mission's complete. That's how the magic works. Oh, right, said Jack. He looked around. There was no sign of the Pennsylvania book at all. Annie peered out the window. Where are we, anyway? I'll find out, said Jack. He picked up the open book and read the title on the cover. Life in the Ice Age. Ice Age? Said Annie. Well, no wonder we're cold. Well, I think we better find that M thing soon, said Jack, before we freeze to death. Look, said Annie, I see people. She pointed out the window. Jack saw them too. 4 figures on a cliff. 2 big ones and 2 little ones, all holding long spears. Who are they? Said Annie. I'll look in the book, said Jack. He found a picture of some people and he read the caption to Annie. Early modern humans were called Cro-Magnons, and during the late Ice Age in Europe, they sometimes lived in caves beneath the cliffs. Why are they carrying spears? Said Annie. Jack turned the page and he found another picture of the Cro-Magnons, and he read out loud. The Cro-Magnon family often hunted together. They covered their pits with branches, and then they drove reindeer and mammoths into their traps. Oh, trapping animals, that's sad, said Annie. No, it's not, said Jack. You know, they can't live without hunting, and they didn't have supermarkets like we did, you know. They watched the family slowly disappear on the other side of the cliff. Come on, I'm freezing, said Jack. Let's hurry, let's find the M thing while those Cro-Magnons are hunting. But I want to meet them, said Annie. Oh, forget it, said Jack. They don't have books to tell them about us. They'll think we're an enemy, and they'll hunt us with their spears. Oh, yikes, said Annie. Jack put his book away. Squeak! Peanut peeked her head out of the backpack. Stay in there, said Annie. It's cold out here. Jack pulled on his pack and started down the rope ladder. Annie followed. On the icy grounds, they huddled together. The wind was biting, and Jack put his towel over his head. Snow was blowing against his glasses. Hey, Jack, said Annie, look at me. Annie put on her swimming goggles. Now I can see. Good thinking, said Jack. Now cover your head with your towel. Most of your body heat is lost in your head. So Annie wrapped her towel around her head. You know, I think we should find a cave or something to get warm. I bet there are caves in those cliffs over there, said Annie. She and Jack started across the white plain. The snow wasn't very deep yet, but the wind was blowing hard. I told you, said Annie, pointing to an opening in the rock. There's a cave. They ran to it. Careful, said Jack. They stepped carefully into the shadowy, dark cave. It was only slightly warmer inside, but at least the wind wasn't blowing. In the light gray light, they stomped the snow off their sneakers, and Annie took her goggles off. It smells in here, said Jack. Yeah, like a wet dog, said Annie. Let me see what I can find out, said Jack. He pulled out the book about the Ice Age. I'm gonna look around, said Annie. Maybe the M thing is right here and we could go home right away. Jack stood by the entrance so he could read the book. This cave is filled with weird sticks, said Annie. What? Said Jack. He didn't look up from the book. No, wait. They're not sticks. I think there's bones in here, said Annie. Bones? Did you say bones? Said Jack. Yeah, there's lots of them. They're in the back, all over the floor. Jack turned to the page of the book, and he found a picture of a cave filled with bones. Jack, I think I hear something. Jack was reading below the writing of the picture. The great cave bear of the Ice Age were over 8 feet tall. These bears were much larger and fiercer than any bears living today, like grizzlies. Their caves were filled of the bones of their ancestors. Annie, said Jack, in a whisper, get back here, right now. They were in the cave of a great cave bear. Chapter 3, Brr. Annie, said Jack, but there was no answer. He put the book quietly back in his backpack and he stepped deeper into the cave. Annie! He was a little louder this time. Jack stepped on the bones and the wet dog smell was much stronger, so he kept going deeper into the smelly blackness. He ran into something and he gasped. Jack, is that you? Said Annie. Didn't you hear me calling your name? Said Jack. We've got to get out of here. But wait, there's somebody sleeping in the back of the cave. I can hear him snoring. Jack heard a low, moaning snore, loud and then soft again. That's not a person. It's a great cave bear. And then a booming snore shattered the air. Yikes, said Annie. Go, 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 said Jack. He and Annie ran through the cave, over the bones and out into the falling snow. They kept going, and they ran between fallen rocks and under jagged cliffs. Finally, they stopped and they turned around, and all they could see was the snow tracks and rocks from their footprints. But there was no bear following them. Phew, said Annie. That was lucky. There's a picture here. Yeah, he'd probably never even wake up. We just got panicked. Annie huddled closer to her brother. Brr, I'm really freezing now. Me too, said Jack. He took off his glasses and tried to wipe the snow, but the cold wind blew against his bare legs. Wow, said Annie, look. She pointed to something behind him. What? Said Jack, putting his glasses back on. Under a cliff there was a really wide ledge, and under that ledge was another cave. Only this cave had a golden glow to it. This one looked cozy, safe, and finally warm. We're on chapter 4. I'll give you a hint. It's called Cave Kids. It's here where Miss Lyon's going to pause, and my thought is that I will read 3 or 4 chapters and send them out to you kind of once every day or so. So I need you to tune back in next time Miss Lyon sends an email to your family, and Miss Lyon will continue reading with chapter 4, Cave Kids. See you soon.